Have you bought a GM screen and then never used any of the tables on it? Or have you made your own GM screen and now you're not sure what to put back there? Welcome to the table. I'm Kelly, and I'm going to share 10 ways to customize your GM screen. First up are size and distance references. I use this handy size reference chart posted by u/alwaysstuckforaname on Reddit. I also make a quick reference chart of distances between places in my world. If it's a larger scale exploration campaign, then I'll make a table with distances between different cities. If it's a smaller scale city-based campaign, then I'll make a table with distances between prominent locations in the city. You don't have to have every possible combination in this table, just the main ones, and then you can use those distances to estimate the rest. The next thing is a traveling pace reference chart, which of course can be used in conjunction with the first two. I like to have the speed per minute, hour, and day for travel on foot, and then any vehicles the players might have access to. U/online sarcasm made a pretty in-depth spreadsheet with travel paces for various animals and vehicles in both metric and imperial. If you're playing 5e, then you can make your travel pace reference by taking the relevant stats from that spreadsheet. Thanks, online sarcasm. I've linked that spreadsheet in the description down below. Enough with all these numbers. I also like to keep monster art for any important monsters I think the party might encounter that session. It's great to reveal a picture of your monster when your party encounters it. I find it really helps immerse your players. Although I rarely use the art from the books because I usually change the look of the monster to fit my world. Or sometimes I make up a monster and then use the stats from a different monster for the mechanics. When looking for art, my go-tos are ArtStation and a subreddit called r/imaginary monsters. Both have some really cool stuff. Otherwise, Google Images never fails. If I'm prepping a session where I think anything out of the ordinary might happen, like there's a possibility for underwater combat, or there's some anti-magic runes, or other situations that might require rules I'm less familiar with, then I like to have those on hand for quick reference. Part of my prep process is thinking through my encounters, trying to anticipate what scenarios might arise, and then collecting any special rules that would apply to those. Although, no matter how much I anticipate, my players always surprise me. But that frantic rules search right in the moment is part of the thrill. Number 5 is dice, of course, and look at this sweet giant D20. I don't normally go for novelty-sized dice, but this D20 has such nice, crisp edges that I couldn't resist. It is nice to have a special dice that you can bring out for big rolls in front of the table. Number 6 is a names list for quick NPC names. I like to have different lists for different areas of the world so that the names fit those different people. Once I use a name off the list, I cross it off and I put a one-word reminder of who the NPC was. Then, after the session, I can write down a little note about them and anything important I might have made up on the spot. Relevant character backstory is good to keep close at hand. If there's a session coming up where I think some parts of one of my players' backstories will come up, then I like to take important pieces and have them behind the screen for reference. This might be NPC names and places from their backstory, or any other details I find hard to remember. Random encounter roll tables are also something I like to keep behind the screen. I like to make encounter tables for different cities or areas of a city so the encounters themselves tell the players something. I'll go into this more in a future video. As well as special rules, I also like to keep any rules that I find come up frequently that I just can't remember. For whatever reason, there are certain rules that come up almost every session that I find myself having to look up every single time. For whatever reason, they just don't stick in there. In 5e, can you cast a bonus action cantrip and an action spell? Or is it a bonus action spell and an action cantrip? It's the second one, but in the heat of the moment, I always forget. The last thing I keep behind my GM screen is my computer. And if you want to see what tools I use on my computer in every session, you can check out this video here. And hey, I appreciate you.